In task 4 of Stronger, I'm going to take you through pelvic floor exercises for life. We're going to start these lying. Now, as we get stronger and more able to do our pelvic floor contractions, we want to come in some more functional positions, such as sitting, kneeling and standing. But in those positions, gravity can be a real challenge. So this is the easiest position to start in. So you want to find your neutral and look back through the previous chapters if you're not sure how to do that. And then I'm going to get you to isolate each of the pelvic outlets. So by this I mean the urethra at the front where your urine comes from, your vaginal opening in between that and the back passage where your stools come from. We're going to work on each of those passageways in turn. Not only have we got 3 passageways, so if you like a front, a middle and a back of our pelvic floor, we also have layers. So we have this superficial layer on the outside, their job is to squeeze. And then we have this middle layer, those jobs are to kink the pipes. And then we have a deep layer whose job it is to lift everything up and in. And just think, any one of those actions on its own might not be enough, but together that's where our pelvic floor strength comes from. So we're going to see if we can isolate that. Start at the front for me. So run your hands down the front of your belly to your pubic bone. Just wrap your fingers around the pubic bone and that's where you'll start to feel quite sensitive. That's the entrance to your vagina. Just before that, you're going to come to your urethra where the urine comes from. Now concentrate on the muscles underneath your finger, a circular group of muscles which are going to pinch that outlet closed. Then imagine the muscles behind that, the ones running up the tube which would kink the tube. And then the next group of muscles which would lift up through the bladder neck and lift into that contraction. Then release, unkink, let it go. Make sure you've released before we do the next one. The next one's going to be the vaginal wall. So at the birth canal again, you can move your hand further around, feeling the entrance of your vagina to locate those muscles. You can think about a squeeze of the muscles at the entrance, a kink of the muscles further inside, before lifting up and in. And then lower, release, let go. And lastly, we're going to move towards your back passage. So again, you can feel around to those muscles. Sitting can help because you can put pressure there. And I want you to think about the circular muscles on the outside. Squeeze those closed, kink through into the back passage, and then lift up and in. Then release, unkink, let go. So at first you might need to practice those 3. And then in Stronger, I teach you how to engage and work through them all together. And when we look at all of the passageways, what we're trying to do is imagine just a general pelvic floor elevator in the floor of our pelvis. And what we're going to do is imagine that at the entrance to that pelvic outlet, we've got an elevator and we're going to shut the doors. We're going to close the doors using those muscles at the entrances. And then we're going to pull the elevator up through the middle of the outlets. And then you're going to lift all the way up to the top. So when we can do this, we want to make sure we can lower the elevator down using all of those parts of the pelvic floor before at the ground floor, open the doors. And then there's a third step. So first step, identifying each part of the pelvic floor. Second step, working it all together on and all the way off. Third step, endurance. We work on how long can we hold that contraction for before it starts to falter. How many can we do before we start to tire? And then we move into various other positions.